exercises will begin after the final blessing, after Mass, so the final song. And so we will continue to celebrate our 8th graders. Please stand. The Lord be with you. And may Almighty God bless you, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Go in peace, glorifying the Lord by your life.
Jesus, shine, fill this land with the Father's glory, blaze, Spirit blaze, set our hearts all on fire, flow, river flow, flood the nations with grace and mercy, send forth your word, Lord, and let there be light. Lord, the light of your love is shining in the midst of the darkness shining. Jesus, light of the world, shine upon us. Set us free by the truth you now bring us. Shine on me. Shine on me. Shine, Jesus, shine. Fill this land with the Father's glory, blaze, Spirit blaze, set our hearts on fire, flow, river flow, flood the nations with grace and mercy, send forth your word, Lord, and let there be light.
Okay, can I have everyone please be seated, please? Good evening. So graduation night brings a lot of joy and excitement, but also brings some sadness. The 8th graders are sad that they're ending their years of being classmates with their good friends. The teachers are sad that they won't be seeing these students in their classrooms next year. And the St. Louise community is sad that some of our school families are graduating either their only child or their last child from St. Louise. And therefore, they will be ending their careers today as St. Louise school parents. It is this last category for which I would like to talk about. We wish to thank the following parents for their years of support for St. Louise as their final day of being active school parents, as tomorrow they become alumni parents. As I read the departing families' names in the order of how long they have been parents at St. Louise School, please save your applause until I finish naming each group. Our first group is 8th grade families whose children have attended St. Louise for the past 2 to 9 years. As I call your name, please stand, parents, and remain standing. We thank and bid farewell to Tony and Leslie Bannock, Tim and Paige Brown, Imelda Medina and Arturo Diaz, Todd and Kristen Jamer, Ken Kincaid and Kumiko Yada, Paul McCullough and Ling Yi Chen, Aaron and Don Spencer, Veronique Cano, Jose and Carmen Castillo. Jose and Annalisa Cruz. Chris and Joellen Jaster. Chris Jensen and Jennifer Santos. Tomas Yuhas and Hui To. And Paul and Nicole Minero. Let's give them a round of applause. Okay, you may be seated. Now our next group of families have been to St. Louise for double digits, 10 to 12 years. And today we sadly say goodbye to them. Please stand and remain standing. John Brito and Jacinta Vimal. Hernando Silva and Olga Rodriguez. Jeff and Laura Dark. Brendan and Erica Mervin. Jeff and Michelle Kuya. Nate and Margie Clinton. Leroy and Pamela Munar. And Tim and Andrea Russell. Let's give them applause. Thank you. Okay, now we're getting to the teen years. The following families had long histories with our school, and it will certainly seem strange and empty to not have them around in September. What illustrious memories we have of these three families, and please stand and remain standing until I name all three families that have been at St. Louise for a long time. I've been here longer, 20 years, but no. So I've seen all the kids grow up. So ending their 14 years here at St. Louise are Steve and Kelly Wilkins. Now, for the past 15 years, we were fortunate to have Chris Black and Mary Black. And topping the list at 16 years, since Miles was in kindergarten, I would like to say goodbye to Paul and Colleen Novak. Thank you, parents, for all you have given to our school community over the years, and we're going to miss seeing you on Monday through Friday at the carpool line, but I know Father would want me to remind you you're open on Sundays. So, thank you. You may be seated. So speaking of parents, every June, St. Louise Parish School recognizes a few people as our volunteers extraordinaire. Volunteers have a long history of going above and beyond in how much time and devotion they give to students, staff, and school programs. It has always been a difficult decision to decide which volunteers will be honored each year as our volunteers extraordinaire because we have so many wonderful, hard-working parent volunteers throughout the school. Many of you sitting here this morning were definitely worthy of consideration. Our award recipients are chosen from nominations we receive from school staff and fellow school parents. For 2022, 3 Volunteers Extraordinaire Awards are being announced tonight, as these recipients are parents with us here graduating their children in their 8th grade class. Our first volunteer winner goes to a mom who has been an active volunteer for the past 8 years. You probably have seen her constantly helping out at recess supervisor with Mrs. Legnon, Mrs. McKenna, and Mrs. Sweeney. She has also helped out with the annual book fair and has braved the weather in helping me during afternoon carpool. She also helped in parish ministries by training 8th grade sacristans during school masses. We are excited to announce our first volunteer extraordinaire of 2022, and we're so grateful for Veronique Tadno. Veronique, please come forward to receive your award. Thank you, Veronique. I still need carpool people next year, so if you want to come back, I'll give you a call. Next, we want to recognize another person who will also be graduating their only child, and this is his final year as a school parent. For the past 9 years, he has helped Mrs. McKenna and Mrs. Legnon, also as recess, just like Veronique, but he also helped Mr. Gallant, Miss Franco, and Miss Patterson with the speech team throughout the years. He has worked for many years doing the accounting for our annual school auction, and he occasionally helps serve food with the 8th graders at their monthly Salvation Army dinners. We are so grateful for all of his volunteer work throughout the years, and I'd like to recognize Paul McCulloch and have him come up to receive his Volunteer Extraordinary Award. Congratulations. Okay, one more left. So finally, this volunteer extraordinaire has been at St. Louise for the past 16 years. I could give you a clue right there. And served a variety of roles, from being a room parent to helping with the speech team. She has volunteered as a parent CYO volleyball coach this past year, and our volunteer extraordinaire has been part of the Parents Club and served on our accreditation team in 2016. This year, she took the lead in organizing and planning, I heard, a great 8th grade dance. For all of her service throughout the years, she will truly be missed here at St. Louise, and our final volunteer extraordinaire for 2022 is Colleen Novak. Okay. Mrs. Harridge and Mrs. Williams want to thank the 8th grade room parents for their support all year, and especially for their help the last weeks with various graduation events. Would the following room parents please stand up? Mary Black, Carmen Castillo, and Anne-Marie Sweeney. Your children have a little gift of appreciation from the junior high teachers. Thank you for all you have done this year, and we'll miss you. Now, I would like to ask one of our 8th grade homeroom teachers, Veronica Williams, to come forward to present the class speaker with his medal. The class speaker is a student nominated by classmates and chosen by the faculty who is in the top 10% in grade point average and who best embodies the positive spirit of the 8th grade class. I would like the speaker for the class of 2022 to come forward to speak to his fellow classmates. Anthony Casso.
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight? Is everyone excited to graduate? Just a quick warning before this speech starts. It has a lot of corny jokes, and the speech is technically bad for the economy. I'm sorry, Ben. So, the 8th grade picnic was last Friday, and boy was it muddy. You have no idea how many people I just saw slip in the mud. I mean, every time I looked over, someone was falling in the dirt. One time I looked over and Ellie Nightingale was just sliding like Superman. Another time I looked over and Sean was on his back just like this. And they would either just hit the ground sliding or they would catch themselves. And it was really funny. Until it happened to you. And it's a little bit like life. Because sometimes you fall in the mud. Sometimes you make mistakes. Unless you're valedictorian and you get 100% in all your classes and never mess up. This part isn't for you, Emu, Aliana, Bryony, and Becca. Anyway, sometimes you do slip in the mud. But the real question is, what do you do after the fact? Do you keep moving? Do you keep striving? Or do you just sit there? High school is going to be like this, and so is the rest of your life. But I would say that St. Louise has prepared us incredibly well, because I know so many career options and so many extracurricular activities that require me to graph the sloped intercept using algebra. And just that alone leads me to say that the class of 2020 is the smartest class yet. 22, sorry. I mean, who's going to compete with us? Class of 2024? Those are the 6th graders, by the way. All they did was clog up a couple of toilets. I mean, Finn and Michael, they passed a law that allowed us to watch Pirates of the Caribbean at the end of class. Thank you, Mr. Walker. And also, Mr. Forte wants to talk with you after this because of all the legislature we tried to pass through. We're also the loudest class according to the little kids downstairs. Kate, Sarah, I'm looking right at you. Every time the classroom was loud, I was like, oh, they're arguing about oatmeal cookies again. That actually happened. However, we're not the best at volleyball. The only reason we lost was because I wasn't playing, because we all know how good I am at volleyball. Even though we lost, we still wore the best costumes. Finn, you get a shout out for wearing the pineapple. That was great. I mean, 8th grade definitely had the best style, especially Ben. He literally wore a suit every free dress day. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's this kid gonna wear on formal dress day? I expected him to show up in a powdered wig and knickers. To be honest though, I did learn a lot from St. Louise. I learned everything except how to spell St. Louise. L-O-I-U-S-E. I learned a lot of life lessons, like the harder you work, the better the outcome. 6th grade taught me that, because that was the toughest year. But there's always light at the end of the tunnel, because next year was 7th grade, and in 7th grade, we got Mr. Gallant. Mr. Gallant also gave me some great dating advice. He told me, if you can write a thesis, everyone loves you. No one likes the captain of the football team. Everyone likes the guy who can write a thesis. Hear that, Gunner? So that is why the first thing I say to anyone when I walk up to them is, hey, I can write a thesis. And that's also why I don't have a girlfriend. 8th grade went by so fast, mostly because I was doing so much. I joined the school play and forced Bruno into it. And it was so much fun. And it taught me another life lesson. Do everything, try it all, and sometimes it won't work out. So just keep trying until it does. Fortunately, the play did work. and hopefully your plans will too. So, St. Louise has prepared you for the next step on your journey, and I hope you have the courage to take it. Many of you will, but some of you will not. Don't be that type of fellow. No one likes that type of fellow. So today we gather to make the next step. Today we gather to take the journey. Today we gather to celebrate the leaders of tomorrow, and I hope that's you. So, as Fisher would say, this year has been mad bussin', man. Thank you very much, and also, Daniel, the store is open.
Thank you, Anthony. And Mr. Walker, I will talk to you tomorrow. Now I'd like to announce the recipients of the Knights of Columbus scholarships. Each year, our Parish Knights of Columbus organization awards 2 $600 scholarships to 2 of our graduates who will be attending Catholic high schools. We are grateful to the Knights for their support of Catholic education, and Brian Blank, the Grand Knight from St. Louise Knights of Columbus, will come forward to present the 2 awards. The 2 8th grade award winners were chosen by the faculty based upon their overall school performance and essays they wrote about why they want to continue their education in a Catholic high school. I would ask the following students who are receiving the Knights of Columbus scholarships to please come forward to receive their scholarships from Mr. Blank. Elena Harris and Colby Jensen. Both Elena and Colby will be attending Eastside Catholic in the fall. The St. Louise Derelict Christian Spirit Awards go to 2 students who have been nominated by their classmates and chosen by the school faculty. These award recipients live Christian values, are generous in serving others, and bring life to the school by being joyful, kind, and involved. Alex Gallant, one of our junior high teachers, will be handing out these awards. And I'd like to ask the following 2 students who are receiving the Christian Spirit Awards from the class of 2022 to please come forward. Becca Blank and Michael Charles. Congratulations. The Leadership Awards go to the students nominated by classmates and chosen by the faculty who inspire and lead classmates in getting involved and pursuing excellence in behavior, academics, and service. Helping present these awards is one of our junior high teachers, Andrew Walker. I'd ask the following 3 students who are receiving the Leadership Awards to please come forward. Sarah Tano, Brooke Novak, and Emmanuel Vimal. Congratulations. Mary Harridge, another one of our 8th grade homeroom teachers, has a special announcement to make.
It's my pleasure to announce the Respect Human Life essay winners. Each year, the St. Louise Parish Gospel of Life community sponsors a contest and provides cash awards. Thank you to the Knights of Columbus for providing the cash awards along with the Gospel of Life. And I'd like to invite Desmay Hare, one of our distinguished Gospel of Life community members, to come forward to present the awards. The students each chose an issue connected with the theme of Respect Life. And in their essay, they must document their research, including information from both secular and Catholic news and sources. The Gospel of Life community chose the following winning essays. In third place, with her essay on human trafficking, is Ellie Nightingale. In a tie for second place with essays on abortion are Elisa Castillo Gayon and Camila Soto. Our first place winner's essay includes, in part, these ideas. Imagining something so horrific happening to a murderer that you, a family member of the murder victim, feels bad for them. This is what happened to many people witnessing capital punishment. The Catholic faith teaches us that all lives are valuable. God should be the one to judge, not an executioner. Quote, "The death penalty offers the tragic illusion that we can defend life by taking life." And that's according to the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops. A main argument for capital punishment is that it will, quote, deter other criminals from doing the same. This is not true. Police chiefs have stated that it is the least efficient way to reduce violent crimes, and the FBI even found states with the death penalty have higher murder rates according to the American Civil Liberties Union. Another point many people make is the number of people who are innocent. Almost 90 people have been freed from death row after being found innocent since 1973, according to the USCCB. Since 2000, an average of 5 people a year have been removed from death row due to innocence, according to health research funding. As Catholics, we value life, and there's no exception to killing others. The death penalty doesn't help society as a whole. There's tension around it, and it doesn't deter criminals. Quote, "An evil deed is not redeemed by an evil deed of retaliation." Taking one person's life in retaliation is not the answer and not how we will lower crime rates. This was just part of the first place essay written by Sammy Kuyat.
Thank you. Now it's time to present the CYO Christian Athlete Award as nominated by fellow teammates and chosen by our parish's athletic board and the CYO coaches who have coached the 8th graders over the years in basketball, volleyball, track, and cross country. Representing the parish's CYO athletic board is PE teacher Chris Evans. The Christian Athlete Award goes to one boy and one girl who were deemed tops in both sportsmanship and athletic efforts over their careers at St. Louise. Congratulations to our top Christian athletes, Jane Clinton, and Michael Charles. Congratulations. One final individual award to announce is the most difficult to attain is our St. Louise valedictorian. This is a student with the highest grade point average in both the 7th and 8th grade years. But for this year, the class of 2022 made history as being the class that has 4 valedictorians. For the class of 2022, 4 students have earned the highest GPA, a cumulative 99% grade in all of their subjects for the past 2 years. I'd like to call up our valedictorians to receive a medal from our junior high homeroom teachers and speak to their classmates. Please come forward, Emmanuel Vimao, Becca Blank, Aliana Cruz, and Brian E. Brown.
For someone whose last name begins with a V and always used to be in the caboose, the opportunity to go first among the 4 speakers today is pretty rare, but not without reason. Being the only one of my 5 other classmates who had this privilege of starting at St. Louise from pre-K, my senior citizenship landed me this upgrade to first class. And so I begin my rant. Being Catholic, I should probably call it a litany of my complaints of being a St. Louise student. Sure, everyone has their fair share of problems, and mine started right here at pre-K. Started my journey as a short stack and the youngest among the class, the prospect of going to school was scary. However, being part of the amazing Miss Salmon's class, along with Miss Lowell, I realized that I was running out of excuses to not like school, or even act scared with my parents. You see the problem? And we had some complicated things to do, like the sensory table, for example, where the teachers would fill a tub with water and some other material for us to touch and feel. The classroom was a landfill of toys, and I would be lost not knowing where to start or which one I liked the most. Why would they give us such complicated choices for our tiny brains? I don't know, but I do remember for every week, we had a designated Ranger of the Week. Yes, when it was my turn to be the Ranger, I got to be the first in line, finally. But I also got to hold a watering can while planting the apple tree next to the main building. And guess what? I was not the most social of kids. I almost got held back because of my social anxiety, which is just a fancy way of saying not having any friends. Now, kindergarten is a whole nother story. Not only were there more students in my class, but graduating from the old building to the main building meant I had to encounter the big kids in the hallways. And I had a tough time practicing life skills, like learning to walk in a straight line and sit snugly in my chair without squirming and shuffling. Thanks to Mrs. Sampson and Ms. Zambrano, I did master them both eventually. Well, at least I think so. One memory I clearly remember was our field trip to the pumpkin patch, where we could pick our own pumpkins and ended up bringing a boatload back home. We also learned about the first Thanksgiving and even made our own pilgrim hats and Native American headdresses. Winter came and spring followed, the second hard yet successful year at St. Louise. My last grade of my litany is first grade. I do remember that I felt cool being in first grade, just for the fact that now I was a grader. I remember walking in the hallways when other students were there and pretending I was cooler than them, only to find out that they were second graders. The only thing that changed was the extra long reading classes. We read a lot in first grade, and maybe it was the regular class time, but it felt so long that I felt I was aging. After 2 years, finally, in first grade, my personal bubble exploded, and it was time for some friends, whom I treasure to this day. Interestingly, this was also the year I found my love for mathematics and science. See the problems of a first grader at St. Louise? My first 3 years at St. Louise were probably my hardest, but also some of my best years. Those were the glorious pre-COVID years when masks were only for surgeons and bandits and Zoom was non-existent. They say that when Michelangelo picked the stone for the Pieta, he already knew how it would look like when it was finished. I'm sure the teachers at St. Louise saw us the same way, when we came in as rough and unpolished blocks. And hopefully, as our class of 2022 leaves today, finally sculpted and autographed with all your careful crafting, we can make you proud and keep the St. Louise name flying high. And as I conclude my litany, I have one last complaint to make. It is only at St. Louise that you would have to share your airtime with other equally smart classmates. I don't even get to thank all of my 2nd through 8th grade teachers and all the PE, music, art teachers, the wonderful office and support staff, the amazing pastors, and all the coaches and parent volunteers. It is a hard life, but thank you, God. Thank you.
My speech may not be as wordy as his, but I'll do my best. So, as I was going back through the years, I realized there are many seemingly unimportant memories or moments that probably helped shape us into who we are today. For instance, coming back from PE in 2nd grade, just to find out that Ralphie, the class turtle, had disappeared was exhilarating. We spent basically a whole class trying to find him, only to discover that he was chilling under a bookcase. Although we all thought it was funny, this showed that the class was willing to sacrifice their time and energy in order to help the community. At the time, I couldn't tell what these small actions would turn into, but now, looking at the class of 2022, I can see the growth and compassion among us. Along with growing a sense of compassion, throughout the years, we have been able to bring about a shared happiness. Whether it was because we could never walk in a straight line, and still can't, or it was because many of us were preparing for our first communion. Having activities in which many of us participated in helped to bring a deeper connection between us. When we became more connected, we could share laughs and contribute to inside jokes, which brought an overall delight in being around the class of 2022. That being said, it doesn't mean we always had it easy. As we got older, there was a higher demand for responsibility from us. In 3rd grade, we became big buddies and had to be role models for our younger buddies. This made us show a greater level of maturity and helped to grow our leadership skills. We were starting to develop many skills that we would use our whole life, or so we were told. Some skills were easy to know we would use them, like when we had to do a report on somebody and then present to the class. This was to improve our presenting skills. But other skills, like learning cursive and setting goals, were a little harder to figure out how they would help us succeed. What we may not have known then was that goal setting opens the mind and fills it with optimism and provides motivation. When we succeed in our goals, we are rewarded with a feeling that wants us to keep going and to keep doing well. And even if we didn't realize it then, our teachers always knew what they were doing. So all those things we had to learn and thought were pointless, we will probably learn their value in about another 5 years. So, by 4th grade, we had learned valuable skills, established friendships, and got to know and often got along. But there were still new students and new opportunities. We took the time to get to know the new faces and to include them in our epic Foursquare battles at recess. We had to work on projects like Marketplace, Electric Houses, and the Oregon Trail. We weren't always placed with the people who we chose to work with, and sometimes it's hard not to work with your best friend. But working on these projects taught us to learn to collaborate with others and showed us that not everything goes according to plan. Like in Marketplace, when we thought one spot in the room was best, but later found it wasn't as profitable as we thought. 4th grade helped us to work on our decision-making skills and prepared us for the wacky stuff math would throw at us. Despite the hardships, we learned to adapt, and looking back, those years were pretty easy, but we still need to adapt to change like we did back then. With age comes a greater demand for responsibility, whether it's caring for a class pet or being a big buddy. Our class has succeeded in showing great maturity when required to do so. So, if I could turn back time, or if I could find a way to go back to the days when we were unassuming and carefree, I wouldn't change those years for the world. And though they may be forgotten one day, the values and lessons that were gained will always be a part of us. When we become rich and famous, my only hope is that we remember who we are deep down and to call upon our fellow classmates to help remind us if we ever forget. So even though we can be loud and rowdy, at least it illustrates the sheer happiness of our class and how willing we are to contribute to the well-being of others. Thank you.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Aliana Cruz, and I'm sure my parents still remember my very first past birthday here in kindergarten, while my sister was in 5th grade. Now, she's in college, and it's my turn to leave St. Louise. This school has played a big role in my life in preparing me for the future. I've made many fond memories during my stay here, but for right now, I'll be focusing on 5th and 6th grade. So when I think of 5th grade, I'm immediately reminded of doing patrol. You see, my parents signed me up for the morning, which is notorious for being freezing in the middle of the year. If I didn't bring gloves, my hands would be numb. I'd also like to thank Ocean for that time you let me borrow your gloves that one time. A very valiant action indeed. So once the bell rang, we'd walk back as we complained about not feeling our feet. However, 5th grade was also one of my favorite years for Science Showcase. My fellow artistic partner, Alina N., and I experimented with different watercolor paints that we created ourselves, creating paintings of cute snakes to see what others thought about them. I remember gathering around the presentation we created with my friends, distraught when I realized there would be no sound during the showcase, which I worked so hard on. But despite all that, I was still proud of what me and my partner had created. But soon enough, all of us had become 6th graders. And I'm sure the rest of my class remembers how 6th grade progressed. For me, it was already different from the start. My close friend had transferred to another school. It really did seem like I'd be alone for the rest of the year, but I was quickly able to find myself talking with a new group of classmates in this welcoming community. I had heard of the activities 6th grade had in store, as well as it being the rumored grade with the most homework, which would definitely help us in high school. Field trips, constructing houses for the science showcase with lights and batteries, but the main event was the Mount Rainier camping trip that would come late in the year. The year went on, and the camping trip was arriving soon. Who would be in the same room as me? What activities would be due? I even heard there was a piano where we'd be staying. But ultimately, those questions never got answered. In March of 2020, it was announced that we would have online classes because of COVID. It started off totally great. My school laptop wouldn't even start on the first day, so I had to use my personal computer. Technical difficulties here and there throughout the year with microphones and cameras and such not working, and those times where people don't realize they're unmuted. But we worked together to overcome these problems. They said online learning would last a couple weeks or so it should be fine, right? We would be back in school in time for the camping trip, and everything would go back to normal. Instead, it repeatedly got extended, eventually to the end of the year. Despite this, though, I still managed to keep in touch with my friends. We were once assigned a journal to write in every day about our experiences in quarantine. And in the middle of all my responses to those prompts we'd have, such as what I'd do if I was invisible for 24 hours, I truly was passionate in writing about the calls I'd had with them. Then, on the last day of school, Mr. Glasser had put together a slideshow of pictures that were taken of us throughout the school year. Halloween, St. Vincent de Paul, all of our smiling faces. If online learning continued like this, we wouldn't get pictures for a fun slideshow, at least none that aren't students in individual boxes on a screen. Would we ever return to in-person learning? As I stand before you all now, I have my answer. Thank you to all my teachers and classmates, as well as everyone else who has contributed to this school and our learning environment, for supporting me and each other during our journey in St. Louise. As we move on to the next stage of our lives, I'll never forget the memories and friendships I made here in this school, and I'll especially miss drawing on the whiteboard every day.
Hello, I'm Bryony Brown, and as many of you know, I first came to St. Louise in 6th grade. But today I'm going to be focusing on 2 different years, 7th and 8th grades. Although I haven't been at St. Louise for very long compared to a lot of my classmates, I can tell you that St. Louise is a welcoming and fun community that prioritizes a balance of faith, friendship, sports, and academics, which is why I'll be focusing on those topics today. Before I talk about anything else, I have to talk about faith because it's such a significant part of St. Louise. Over the years, it's been so fulfilling going to masses, rosaries, and adoration, and learning more about the Catholic faith and religion class. Before I came to St. Louise, I went to a public school, so I especially appreciate learning about religion while at school, not just at home. From the moment I came to St. Louise, everyone was so nice and just a completely genuine group that I've enjoyed getting to be a part of for the past 3 years. When I think about friendship at St. Louise, I think of how if any person is hurting, our community is the first to help them out in any way we can. Plus, it's so fun to still have recess in junior high because it really helps to make friends and just get a break from concentrating on schoolwork. One of my favorite things to do with friends is to play sports, so I've loved playing CYO soccer and volleyball this year. And not only do you get to see your friends outside of school, but you also get to learn new sports, and no one cares how good you are or how many games you win. Also at recess, everyone plays sports like basketball or soccer, and it's really cool that we get to hang out together and cheer teammates on, even if a lot of people have never played the sport before. And finally, even though we didn't win the volleyball game against the teachers, everyone tried really hard and there was so much team spirit, which made it a ton of fun. And of course, academics, which are obviously very important at St. Louise. We've learned so much over the past 2 years, but here are some highlights. One was the mock trial that we did in social studies, which helped me get better at writing, debating, and public speaking. 2, we wrote a 6 to 8 page research paper in language arts, which was definitely a challenge, but it also improved my writing and researching skills. 3, for science, 2 of my favorite things that we did were building a water-powered rocket and doing different dissections, such as a frog and pig heart. It was so fun working in teams to build the rocket, decorate it, and hope your egg survived. And it was also really cool to be able to open up the frog and see all the organs and body systems that we had been learning about throughout the year. And for me, math is my hardest subject, but I still really enjoyed coming to school on the weekends last year to be a part of the math team where we got donuts and competed against other schools. And giving countless prayers in religion, presentations in social studies, and even reciting a monologue in language arts that helped me to feel more confident with public speaking. And not only do we have the core classes though. I love doing art and making all sorts of creative projects like making a plasterclaw sculpture, designing covers for the yearbook, embroidering, and painting sets for the school play. And not only did we learn a lot from listening to our teachers and making presentations ourselves, but we also learned a great deal from our classmates. Being at St. Louise has definitely prepared me well for high school and given me loads of skills that I can use for the rest of my life. And since I'm talking about the past 2 years, I of course can't forget the global pandemic. Even though we had to be online, we still learned an amazing amount compared to other schools, and came back to school a lot faster as well. Everyone had to be flexible, and especially the teachers who had to work really hard determining how to best teach, first fully online and hybrid and while wearing masks. And even though everything was a little chaotic at times, and it was of course disappointing that we had to miss so many social activities, we at St. Louise still made the most of it. It's been a crazy last 2 years, but I'm so grateful that I ended up spending junior high at St. Louise. I'm disappointed to be leaving this kind-hearted group of students and supportive staff just as things have started to normalize. But as it says in Isaiah chapter 40, verse 31, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint." Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have reached our pinnacle of our ceremony, where we are thrilled to announce each eighth grader's name as he or she walks up to receive his or her diploma. So now, with the oversight of the Seattle Archdiocese and the Archbishop Paul Aitchen, and the approval of the pastor of St. Louise, Father Gary Zender, St. Louise Parish School is pleased to confer diplomas to the following students who have completed the course of studies prescribed by the Archdiocese of Seattle.
Elizabeth Marie Nightingale.
Marcella Marie Spencer.
Eliana Jolene Cruz.
Ashlyn Rebecca Wilkins.
Alina Fawn.
Luke Edward William Mervin.
Samantha Jane Kuyat.
Ruth Hannah Magnotti.
Brooke Novak.
John Samuel Picorni. Ellison Bell Brown.
Anthony Thomas Casso IV.
Sean Lee Nguyen.
Michael R. Charles.
Benjamin To Yuhas.
Oh, Michael, we'll bring it up.
Colby. The new kid on the back. Colby Edward Jensen.
Vivian Francis Russell.
Arlette Annalie Diaz Medina.
Santiago D. Silva.
Emmanuel Solomon Vaimul.
Rebecca Lynn Blank.
Pia Monica Contago Munar.
Bryony Rose Brown.
Jane Marie Clinton.
Ramona Lehualani Coco.
Elisa Castillo Gayon.
Kayla Marie Yaniv Sarah Tano.
Finian James Sweeney.
Bruno Mendez.
Camila Soto.
Shaya Victorio Portocarrero. Jensen Sean Mueller.
Colin Christopher Jaster.
Gunnar Berkeley Dark.
Michael Ronan Jamer.
Kylie Sahar Monero.
Angela Wien Tran.
Fisher Baron Black.
Kayla M. McCulloch.
Ocean Yoshiko Kincaid.
Daniel Victor Datracourt.
Catherine Mira Bannock.
Elena Jocelyn Harris.
Elena Evangelista Nartates.
I want to thank our 7th grade parents for hosting tonight's reception, which will be held outside the main school building immediately after our students process out. Our graduates will be the first to leave and lead us out to the school. We invite you and family members and friends to please follow and join them at the end of the north end of the campus for this outdoor reception. After the outdoor reception, the 8th graders will proceed to the parish hall for the 8th grade dance, which will conclude at 10 p.m. Now, I would like the 8th graders to present to their parents with their letters of love, as well as handing over their special awards and diploma. So 8th graders, go ahead and deliver them. Next, they will gather on the steps for one last picture together. Okay, graduates, please move your tassels from right to left. Ladies and gentlemen, I present you the 2022 graduating class of St. Louise Parish School.